Hello, this is Amy Figueroa, and welcome to part 2 of my art meditation. So, my next step in this meditation is where I take out my really pretty bag of painted paper scraps. And these are pieces of paper. They could be decorative papers, or they could be wax paper, or book pages. Any kind of scrap paper that I have around, and some of it has paint on it for an added layer. And I just reach in and I pull out a few pieces, and the idea of this is that I'm intuitively grabbing the right ones for my painting, and these will help me to incorporate a color palette or a layout in some way, and I can tear them down more than what they are, or I can keep them as big as they are. And I use matte gel medium. This is from Liquitex. I use this as an adhesive to glue these down. Now, this matte gel medium is found in the fine art section of the craft stores near the paints, the fine art paints, and it's used originally to add to your acrylic paint to give it a matte finish in case it had any type of gloss in it. But I also use it as an adhesive, and it works really well because it's light and kind of watery. It's not as thick as glue or Mod Podge. The only thing is that it dries really quickly, so you have to work real fast. And you can use any kind of brush to put this on. You just have to make sure that you rinse out your brush right away, because it will ruin your brush if you leave it in your brush for too long. It'll just get really hard and you won't be able to use your brush anymore. So, as I said, I put it underneath the paper and I lay it down, and then I put it on top of the paper as well. And this helps to flatten it out and get all the air bubbles out of there. So the best type of paper to use is the thinnest, and some of these decorative papers that are at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, they're kind of thick. Like this pink one is thicker than the one above, the purple one. So it's just taking a little bit of extra effort to flatten it out. I kind of have to hold it till it sticks, but that's okay. It still works. The important thing about this, or one of the important things about this meditation, is that I am just allowing whatever comes up to come up, and dealing with it in a creative, problem-solving kind of way. And that's what I enjoy doing. When I'm in this mode of calm, fluid creativity, nothing really phases me in the way that if this, perceived kind of problem shows up, I always know exactly how to handle it. And this is where I like to be in my everyday life too. I want to be ready to handle anything. And so practicing that here, believe it or not, helps me to use that skill in my everyday life. You can put as many pieces of this paper on as you like. I don't like to cover too much of what I've already put down. But you could definitely I'm trying to keep this video as if I'm talking about myself, and I keep going back and forth as if I'm talking to someone out there. So I'm going to correct myself a little bit. If I could cover this whole page with decorative papers if I wanted to, and that's okay. But for this one, I really love the layers that are already there, so I don't want to cover them up too much. If there's any area that I don't really like, now would be the time to cover it with a piece of paper. I'm really loving how all of this looks, and now I'm putting a coat of the matte gel medium all over the page so that there's less buckling with the paper, and there's an even coat of the same thing, of this wetness of the matte gel medium all over, so it's more likely to dry flatter. And now I'm going to blow dry it, and then we're going to come back with part 3 of this art meditation.